Hey, everybody, welcome into the Marvelous Marvel Discussion Arena. I'm your host, X-Pat, along with my co-host, Burley, and we're going to talk about, of course, Marvel Secret Invasion, Episode 2, titled Promises. So, yes, obviously, this is a spoiler-filled recap of the episode, so if you have not watched the episode yet, please go and watch it on Disney Plus before coming back and enjoying this episode we're doing here. This recap of Promises, episode 2 of Marvel Secret Invasion. Burley, you ready to talk Promises?
Yeah, let's talk Promises.
Let's talk Promises. All right, let's go ahead and get into the slideshow here. So obviously, we get de-aging again, Burley.
Yeah.
So we get 1995. It's basically Captain Marvel. If you have not seen Captain Marvel, go and watch that, because I mean, basically for the first minute of this episode, they just flash back to the Captain Marvel film, back to 1995, and then they go to 1997, 2 years later, and obviously the Skrulls are on Earth now, because obviously wherever Carol Danvers took them at the end of Captain Marvel, it was terrible and there was violence everywhere. And so they come to Earth, and Fury's got them gathered up in a room with Talos, and we meet a young Gravik. So what did you think of these scenes, Burley? And I just have to ask you, I mean, where Nick Fury talks about Carol Danvers and I were going to help find you a new home. But where's Carol Danvers? I mean, in those 2 years between 95 and 97, where did she go? What happened? I mean,
yeah.
But anyway, go ahead. I mean, what did you think of the opening scenes and
stuff? The opening sequence was fine. Like, I knew we were gonna, because I think it was in one of the trailers you saw, they were gonna do the digital de-aging of Sam Jackson. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm not surprised we got this, and they're trying to give more backstory of why the Skrulls are this way and all that, and continue on from the Miss Marvel film. Yeah. It's just like, where is Miss Marvel? that is the big question.
You mean Carol Danvers?
Yeah, Carol Danvers. Yeah,
not Miss Marvel. Yeah, Miss Marvel's.
Miss Marvel's still in New Jersey because my experience of the comics and Marvel. Yeah. She was Miss Marvel for so long, so I do apologize there. Where's Carol Danvers? So for 2 years, they found him a home, but it was not a great home. And then she, I guess, is looking around, or is she just on tour? Is she doing a space tour?
Yeah.
What's she doing?
Yeah, I mean, I understand what they're trying to set up here. They're trying to set up how Nick Fury makes these promises, and obviously, he meets Gravik here, and he basically tells him that it's going to be dangerous and all, and he's like, I'm not afraid and all, but basically setting up the fact that he's promised them, these refugees a home, and he doesn't deliver on it. And so that's the reason why Gravik turns. That's why he becomes who he is now, as well as all the other Skrulls that are following him. So, I mean, I understand what they're trying to set up and all. But, the de-aging and everything again, I was kind of like, did they really need to do that? And then, of course, Talos, and then all the others, they change into human form because they have to basically hide, And then the train scene here. I mean, I love this part. I mean, tell me something I don't know. I mean, it's like, tell me why, why you guys left your Skrull world, and all that, tell me something I don't know. What did you think of this? And then the heated exchange between them, basically, Talos is trying to get Fury's help, and, hopefully that Skrulls and humans will be able to live together. And then Nick Fury is like, we can't even live together ourselves as humans. I mean, we've been murdering and killing each other ever since we've been able to stand afoot. So how do you think that Skrulls are going to be able to live, and coexist with humans when humans can't even coexist with each other? I mean, what did you think of that exchange?
I like the exchange going back and forth between both of them, and then just as it goes on, them getting more and more heated,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
eventually having Talos just leaves the train, just
yeah.
gets off, and
Yeah, but the crazy thing, what freaked Fury out was Talos tells him there's a million scrolls on Earth.
yeah,
You know, it's like,
yeah, he
I
did.
mean, Nick Fury's like, he's thinking maybe, okay, there's maybe a 100 or so, you know. No, there's a million
Maybe a
scrolls.
1,000 max.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, there's a million of us that fled and actually came here, you know, and he didn't tell Fury about it, you know, even though Fury was away, you know, he's like, well, you left, you know, it's like, you know, you were in space. And it's like, well, you could have contacted me. Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, that was a pretty good exchange there. That was heated. Yeah. And then of course we get the shot here of Maria Hill. Of course, her body is being transported back to the US. And then of course, you know, Nick and Elizabeth Hill, of course, Elizabeth Hill, the mother of Maria Hill. And yeah, she just basically wants to know, I mean, how, you know, how she died, and was Nick there, and don't, you know, don't let this you know, don't let her you know, her
Death be
life
for
and
nothing.
everything. Yeah, exactly. Don't let her life go to waste, and you know, and to take care of this. Yeah. So what did you think of that exchange there?
I like this exchange. This is probably my favorite moment of the episode, because
Mm-hmm.
she's like, yeah, they're telling me, my daughter had this say, great thing, we should honor and all this and that, and she's like, they won't even tell me what country she died.
Right.
She
Right.
has to press Fury, and Fury has to get Fury tells her. He's like, yeah, it's basically my fault. She
Yeah.
protected me. They were coming after me.
Yeah. And so we get a shot of course, Amelia Clark here. Of
Gaia.
course, she's Gaia, of course, the daughter of Talos. Now, I just, she's either still with Gravik because obviously she's known him for such a long time. Either that, or she's doing a hell of a job of doing playing an undercover agent, you know, for her father and for Nick. I mean, but yeah, Gravik, of course, he goes into, of course, the meeting here with all of these high level representatives. Of course, you got the Prime Minister of the UK. You've got, you know, the head of NATO, I think it is. All of
Mm-hmm.
them sitting around this table here, and they're all scrolls.
Yeah.
So, you know, and basically he convinces them to make him the general, the lead general in this so-called invasion. So yeah, what did you think of this part here?
Yeah, this didn't surprise me that, hey, we're gonna get this meeting here, and let's start up our invasion plans, and let's take over.
Right.
And like I was surprised we had one holdout, and then you find like they really go into the reasoning of, hey, uh Nick Fury lied to us. His promise didn't come true. So we need to get revenge and take over. It's like that.
Right.
That I'm sorry. That was so weak.
Yeah.
It's like that to me. That was just weak. And then the one girl, she stands up and she like fights against it. And he's like, "I'm not going to kill you."
Yeah.
He's like,
Well, she's a fellow
mm,
Skrull, you
yeah,
know. So, but then she goes out there, and as you saw in the image there, she calls Talos,
I
and
lost.
Talos says, "Set up a meeting with him because I want to talk about Gaia. You know, I
Mhm.
want to talk about my daughter with him." So probably
Yeah,
that's coming in the next episode. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it was kind of strange there. And then we get, of course, the scientists here, and yeah, it's like she's trying to, you know, come up with you know, some kind of, I think it's a DNA sequence that will make the scrolls stronger.
mhm.
So, and what's interesting is you saw in the computer, uh, some of the computer images, and we'll get to that computer image in a little bit. But there was like Groot. I think Groot was on there. and then some other like monsters from I think the Guardians of the Galaxy series. So that was interesting. So now we get to Rhodey, and I like how Rhodey's sitting here, and he's just basically, he's not having any of this with like the representatives from Italy, the representatives from from the UK, the Prime Minister sitting there and all, and
well, he's like, yeah, I'm not going to trust a photo that was sent, a Russian photo.
Right. And he's telling him, it's like, look, man, it's like the president of the United States, he's the president, he's the leader of the strongest country in the world with the strongest military in the world. He's a pretty busy guy. So unless you can give me some real evidence here, then, all you're going to get is like just sympathy about what happened and all. So, yeah. And then he gets the call from Fury. He's asking him about the suit. Is that Armani? And so they have the meeting here. And I mean, the Avengers comes up again. I mean, in the meeting with Gravik, the Avengers comes up and he's like, don't you think I've thought about that? And then, of course, as Fury and Rhodey are talking here, and they start talking about the Skrulls, Rhodey is like, should we call our friends? And then Nick Fury basically says, no, we're not going to do that, because then if we get the Avengers involved, then of course they're going to fight with the Skrulls, and then they're going to be transformed and they're going to look like terrorists. So basically that is what our other co-host, Turn-Based Carl, was talking about. This series is not following the comic series in that sense. Because in the comics, obviously, that happens, where the Avengers fight the Skrulls, and the Skrulls take the form, of some of the Avengers, and then they're basically, like terrorists. And so,
in Marvel Comics, Skrulls are not heroes; they're villains. They're a villainous race of aliens that come on Earth every so often and impersonate different members of the Avengers, politicians, and even some Marvel villains.
Right. Yeah. So they have this heated exchange of basically, Rhodey's basically telling Fury, "You're fired." It's just like Fury's like, you're firing me. And it's like he gets up and then he like basically breaks the arm of the security guard. And then he goes outside, and you can see here, like, Fury is, he's not what he used to be. He's pretty out of shape. He's getting old. He's got to take a rest and all. So I think the weight of the situation is really getting to him here. I mean, in the sense that, man, everybody's pinning this on me, and boy, it's like I've been away for so long. How am I gonna take care of this situation? Maria Hill is now gone, my number 2, so
very few people he can trust now after all this. He has very few allies.
Yeah, well, speaking of an ally,
I
love this part. Good old Olivia Colman, man. I mean, she comes into this like the meat factory thing there, and she's like, this guy's like, "Who are you?" And it's like, "Well, I'm above your pay grade."
Yeah, how did you get in? The door was locked. You see, I unlocked the door. Get me to him.
Exactly. Yeah. Where is he? Yeah. And I just love her interrogation tactics. I mean, she just comes up. Is it gonna be the easy way or the hard way? Okay, well, the hard way then. Hard way then it is. But it's like, it's funny how like these other like Russian, they look like Russian kind of interrogators there. She's basically gives them the cell phone, and then they like, oh, okay. It's like they answer the cell phone. Okay, she's going to take over. And then a guy gives her the cell phone back, and then they all go outside, and she's got him to himself, so. And I just love, before she goes in there, she picks up the clippers, and then just clips the guy's finger off, and it's like, oh, well, that answers everything, the finger turns green, so.
Your Skrull. Oh, good. We've got that now. So now I can really start. And then putting the like she does give him chances. She's like, okay, well, You ever hear your blood boil and all this?
Yeah. Was it
Stick it
160
in.
degrees Celsius? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, and she gives him multiple chances. She injects it in, and he is fighting it, but he realizes he's dying.
Yeah.
And all that, and then he eventually tells her something.
Yeah. Yeah. But before that, I mean, we get back to Gaia here, and here she is. She's on the computer, and she's basically seeing. Here it is. So, like, you got the Coal Obsidian, you got the Extremis,
which is from Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, all of this, and you see like the Groot and everything from like the Guardians of the Galaxy and all. And then there she is. There it is with the injector. You know, she's about to inject him with that. And yeah, his blood's boiling there now. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I just love that interrogation tactic. Yeah. And then she's like, you know, where is the way out of here? And it's like right below him, you know. And then of course Gravik and his men, they make it in, and then there's the big firefight and everything, and they get him out, but Olivia Colman's character obviously had escaped and all. And then they take him out into the woods and basically, you know, off him.
Yeah, mafia style. Mafia style. I love it. In the car, he's like asking him, like, "What did you tell him?" I told her nothing, just lies, just to get her to go.
Well, that was in the meat factory before they left. Yeah. So
yeah.
And then they get in the car and take him out into the woods, and then they take him out there and shoot him, you know. And of course, Gaia, of course, she's not liking it one bit. We think, you know, obviously she's still trying to play like, you know.
I think she's playing. I think she's playing both sides. She's waiting to see which one, which side is going to win and go to that side.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right. I mean, obviously, there's going to be in either the next episode or the episode after, Gaia and Nick Fury are going to get together, and she's basically going to tell him it's like, you know, it's because of you that this is happening, you know. But yeah, we'll see what happens. And then the end here. Oh, I mean, just kind of like another like shocking ending here. It's like Nick Fury's wife is actually a Skrull, but does he really know or not? We don't know that yet.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know. I mean, it's like, you know, at the end of the episode, obviously, you know, she transforms into human form, you know, but I mean, does Fury really know this or not? I mean, could you just imagine if for all these years he did not know that his wife is truly a Skrull? I mean, yeah. What do you think, Burley?
See, that's the thing. I'm of two minds of it. Could it be because he was up when he was up in space? Did the Skrulls replace his wife? Or did he just fall in love with a Skrull? I'm assuming we're gonna get answers next episode. So it's either one or the other. I'm gonna say he fell in love with a Skrull. It's just my thoughts.
Yeah, could be. Yeah. So anyway, that has been our recap of episode 2, titled Promises of Marvel's Secret Invasion, here on the Marvelous Marvel Discussion Arena. So we hope to catch you in the next episode. Of course, episode 3 comes out next week, and we'll be doing our recap episode of that. So anyway, I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-host, Burley. And if you liked this episode, please be sure to hit that like and the subscribe and the notification bell for when we drop a new episode of the Marvelous Marvel Discussion Arena or any of our other content here on the Arena Productions. So thank you so much, and we hope to catch you next week for our next recap episode. So take care, everyone. Peace out.